Man, bring me under. Hey everybody, it is I, your coach Melanie Black, and today we are going to be talking about the best #1 exercise to improve your sex life, the intermediate kettlebell exercise that will make things so much more enjoyable regardless of which gender end of the spectrum you're on. And if you were clicking on this video in the hopes of, let's see, HD booty shots or something, wrong video. The video itself is not a sexy video. We are going to talk about how you, dear viewer, can improve your sex life with this fantastic kettlebell exercise. It is the Russian swing, and we are going to get right into it. So let me tell you first off why this is my #1 pick, again, regardless of which end of the gender spectrum you are on, for better sex. So let me share my screen with you. The benefits of kettlebell swings: stamina, cardio, pelvic floor strength. You're working hips, you're working back, you're working legs, and you're working glutes. So good whole body strength there. Hip and legs mobility and increased testosterone. Oh, and one more thing. Increased total blood volume, increased blood volume in the whole body. So this does a couple of things. Now, yes, of course, some of the obvious ones: better stamina, better cardio. You know, if you're going at it and having a grand old time, the last thing you want to do is just like run out of steam for what you're doing. You want to have some endurance, you want to have some cardio, you want to have some stamina to go all night, right? But then on top of that, you also want to make sure that you're not going to get any weird like inner thigh, hip, glute cramps, that kind of thing. Having strong muscles in those areas, in the hips, the inner thighs, the glutes, the quadriceps, the hamstrings, all of that strengthening. A strong muscle is a flexible muscle, so you're going to have better flexibility throughout all that area, be able to do more fun positions, all that kind of stuff. And when we're talking about testosterone, increased testosterone, again, good for regardless of which gender spectrum end you are leaning towards. For those of you who may be on testosterone blockers, if you're worried about that, don't worry. If you're on an actual testosterone blocker, this will not increase your testosterone. But in general, for most people, increased testosterone, that's a good thing. And then the other thing that we're looking at, increased total blood volume. So this is true of all exercise, high intensity interval training, strength training. Exercise will increase your total blood volume, making you a much more juicy human. And this not only comes in handy for erections and sensitivity and all that kind of stuff, but it makes you your body cool a little faster, sweat a little bit more, which is going to in turn allow you to enjoy the whole process a lot more. So highly recommend all of these things added into your program in some way. And I'm going to give you a more detailed breakdown too on how to actually do the Russian swing. So we're going to get to form in a moment, but let's take a look, just one more slide over here. So what we're looking at with the Russian swing, there are many different types of kettlebell swings out there. There is sport style, there is the American swing, all kinds of stuff. But this is the basics of what we're going to be going over today. We're going to talk about how to get it from the starting position to get it started safely. And the ending position is a nice straight standing up position, and the bell will not go over chest level. So if when I said kettlebell swings, you imagined the overhead American swing, and maybe you've got shoulder issues or other problems that would prevent you from doing that, don't worry, we're not going that high with it. This is actually better for our purposes here, and I'll explain why as we go. So we are going to be going over how to set this up and do the form. And if you don't have a kettlebell, you can do this body weight, you can do this with a dumbbell, and you'll still get lots of benefits. So don't feel like, oh man, I don't have a kettlebell, I can't do this. I would say that one prerequisite for doing a good Russian swing is having some good deadlift form first. So if you have never done a deadlift, please start with good deadlift form with the kettlebell, with dumbbells, whatever you got. I go over deadlift form a little bit in last week's live video, Tuesday last week. Total body beginner kettlebell workout is the one you want to look at for deadlift form on that. But yeah, once you have your deadlift form locked in, the Russian swing is the next step, because it is essentially a dynamic deadlift, and it lends itself to being able to do more of an endurance high rep range, which comes in handy for the specific purpose that we are setting out to achieve in this video, which is better sexy time. Okay, and then yes, as far as the muscles you're working, there's a lot going on here, y'all. We're working really the whole body here because we're getting stabilization through the core, through the upper back, through the shoulders, through the grip strength. Feet and calves are stabilizing, but the main movers and shakers of this bell, the prime movers, are the big muscles in the backs of the legs and in the glutes. You will also get some pelvic floor stabilization as you're doing this. So for those of you who have been skipping out on your Kegels when you should be doing those on the regular, this is actually going to help as long as you're really tensing the core and squeezing the glutes like you're supposed to. And we'll talk about that as we go over the form here in a moment. So yeah, we're working gluteus maximus, adductor magnus, semitendinosus, semimembranosus, biceps femoris, gracilis, semitendinosus. This is when a personal trainer says hamstrings, it's this big old group of muscles that we're talking about, besides the glutes in this picture, which is why we just group them all into one lump sum and call them hamstrings. I don't know why we call them hamstrings. Maybe just because it sounds delicious. I don't know. All right, so let us get into the actual exercise form, shall we? Okay. So the Russian swing. The setup is important on this one. Actually, before we get into the Russian swing, let's just do a couple of warm-up exercises. Always highly recommend doing a warm-up exercise. We're going to do some hip hinging to warm up this whole area, and we are going to do some hip hurdles. So for your hip hinge, if you have a blank wall to stand in front of, this will really come in handy for priming your hips for this movement. So I want you to stand with excellent posture and open chest, and then I want you to push your butt back, push it back, 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 all the way until you tap the wall or as close as you can get, okay? So we're pushing back, and then we're gonna come up and squeeze the glutes. This is very important on both the deadlift and on the Russian swing because it is a hip hinge movement when we're doing it correctly, not a squat. A squat goes up and down in the hips. A deadlift or a Russian swing goes back and forward, okay? And when we come forward, we want to squeeze the glutes and flatten out the hips, but not back, okay? So we're reaching the booty back, 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 and then we're kind of coming up, squeezing the glutes, making a nice straight line right through the hips here. Okay, so that's the basic movement we want to warm up. So I recommend doing that. Body weight. And then you can do a few more dynamic ones in preparation for the swing. Exhale as you squeeze those glutes together. Imagine they're like a bellows squeezing together. All right. The other warm up I would recommend, inner and outer thigh. We're going to bring the knee up nice and high, open to the side, tap it down, up, and toes in towards each other. Okay. Just like that. Few on each side. This is getting your adductors, your abductors, those inner outer thigh muscles. Awesome. All right, let's start with the setup. So we want to start out by making a triangle between our feet and the bell. Now, I did promise you that I'll go over the modifications if you are using a dumbbell or body weight, but we're going to start off assuming you have a kettlebell, and much of the form is the same. So we start out by making a triangle between the feet and the bell. So the bell's a little bit far away from us. We want to make sure that as we're standing here, all of our weight is on our heels. We don't want to be pitched forward onto our toes. And to that end, I recommend either doing flat flexible footwear or barefoot for this. Our feet are going to be approximately shoulder width apart. We want a nice open chest, and that's going to continue even when we have that narrow grip on the kettlebell. Open chest is important. We don't want to start scrunching the chest up or rounding the upper back. So from there, we're going to push the hips back just like we did, like we were trying to get our booty to the wall. We're going to reach out for the kettlebell,
and we have a nice neutral spine here. That means that my tailbone is happy dog, not sad dog, okay? We don't want to be rounded in the back. We want to have it not a hyper arched back, but a neutral spine. My back may look a little bit more arched than yours because I got a big old booty. Got a big old booty back there. So if you got a smaller booty, you might not have as much of an arch as me. That's fine. Okay, but we do want to have a nice neutral spine, at the very least, a flat back, not a rounded back. Okay, so we want to have our focal point out in front of us. We want to have the booty out and back, and this should feel like bloody hell right in the hip flexors. In the crease of the hip, this position should feel like hell. Is not burning. You're probably not actually doing it right. You're probably doing one of these kinds of things. So we want to sit back into it. This is your starting position. Okay, shake it off. Whew. Starting position. Chest is open, and we're going to swing the bell back to the crotch. My hands are going to come at my crotch, and then I'm going to stand and squeeze the glutes. I'm going to exhale every time I come up, and every time I come up, I'm just standing up straight. I'm not leaning back. I'm squeezing the glutes. I'm keeping my shoulders down and packed. In other words, my shoulders are not shrugging up to my ears. I'm not trying to lift the bell with my arms. This is bad. What I'm doing right now is no good. It's all in the booty. You can almost think of it as, you know, those little Newton cradles, the little balls on the strings, and they go tick, 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 right? Your butt cheeks are moving the bell, right? So every time the bell comes back, it's got to come back towards your hips, towards your butt cheeks. If you're pushing your butt back, you are not going to whack yourself with the bell. The hands come down, you push your butt back out of the way, all right? So when you come up, there's a direct line bringing the bell up to about here, okay? If your hip thrust is weak, it's okay for the bell to come down a little bit lower. We are not using our arms. It's not a front raise, not a delt raise. So if I have a weaker hip thrust and my swing looks like this, that's okay. As I get stronger, the bell will go higher. And if the bell starts going higher than my chest level, I'm going to make it even tougher on my glutes by pushing the bell back down from the top. So essentially, if it goes higher than chest level, push it back. Push down towards your crotch, okay? And then push the hips and crotch out of the way. Woo! Nice little cardio burn. Okay, so what happens if you don't have a kettlebell? Now, if you're doing body weight, just clasp your hands together. And we still want a nice, aggressive glute squeeze. The weights keep you honest, okay? Weights are wonderful, they keep you honest, but if you can actively squeeze your muscles, actively squeeze your glutes, you will still get all these benefits. So keep that in mind. Now, if you have a dumbbell, you don't have a kettlebell, and the dumbbell is small enough that you can hold on to the top of it like so, then you can do a Russian swing with a dumbbell. Back up so I'm actually in frame here. All right. So yes, that is the Russian swing. Woo.
All right, so if you have any questions on this exercise, please let me know. On Tuesday of this upcoming week, I will be doing a full body kettlebell workout that will incorporate the Russian swing. You can drop your questions in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you want more coaching from me, join the Nerd Gym, www.thenerdgym.com. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Bye, bye, and I'm ending the live stream. Heck yeah. Gotta feel some time.